Hello, very good morning to all of you, and thank you so much for joining. Can you believe it is another, it's our second one going on today in conversation with, and today we are proud to have Pieterse on with us, which is quite exciting. Dion is from Jobs today. Hello, Dion, how are you doing?
Well, and yourself, Neil.
And I promised then that I would remember to say Antonie. Dion's also gone by the name of Dion over the past few years. I will remember that, Antonie.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate it.
So today it's a conversation with, and it's our second one. We started this off on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and it's our second one. Wednesday, I was on with Carmen, and we discussed all marketing during the lockdown period. If you haven't watched it yet, please do go to our Facebook page, Oracle Media. Go and watch that live video in conversation. It was quite phenomenal. We had over 1,400 participants within 40 minutes. Now, today is quite a topic that everybody wants to know about, Dion, and that is all HR things related to the lockdown and so forth. And I couldn't think of anybody better than one of the top recruiting companies in South Africa, Jobs Today, Dion, to come on board. He's in charge of business development, and he's also he's done quite a few things in his life, which has been quite successful. So before we go on with that, I'm going to go through some of the speakers, specifically in terms of it and what's going on. So Dion, I'm going to take you off quickly. I'm going to bring on our schedule for this week. So not just for this week, but also for next week, I'm just going to quickly go through it so you can also see what's coming up. It is, so obviously today, 3rd of April, we have got Antonie coming on with talking HR and staff during the lockdown. Next week, Monday, and please guys, remember this is Facebook Live. You have to come to our Facebook page and watch it specifically. We've got Jane Stevenson coming on with your mindset during the lockdown, 6th of April, also 3 o'clock. It's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock. Emma Sadler next week, Wednesday, talking all stuff that's fake on social media during the lockdown. Next week, Friday, the 10th, we've got Brightness on at 3 o'clock as well, talking crisis management during the social media. And she's an expert with regards to that. Also don't miss out. Then the 13th of April, we have marketing during the lockdown. It is with Tanusha Pillay, and she's going to be talking to us specifically about what to do. She's been involved with massive car brands internationally for years. Then the 15th of April, it's Michael Jackson and Bev Hancock, leadership through communication, flattening the curve of flattening the coronavirus curve. Sorry about that. And that's with Bev Hancock and Michael Jackson, the 15th of April at 3 o'clock. Then the 17th of April, at 3 o'clock, we have Michael Zoetmulder on how the events industry has adapted in the lockdown period. And he's going to be discussing that specifically with us. Then the 20th of April, we've got an expert in terms of graphic design, and that's Carla Dreyer. She's going to be talking to us graphic design for social media. And remember, each design changes from one platform to the other platform. And that's quite important when you go ahead and you watch things like this. Then the 22nd of April, we're going to have Stoffel on the psychological impact of the lockdown. He's an expert and he's going to be talking about it at 3 o'clock. Then the 24th of April, it's one of our celebrities attendees, and it's Tanya Kuhn. She's going to be talking the legal side and lockdown implications. So all legal things, Tanya Kuhn will be on at 3 o'clock that day to help you with that. Then the 27th of April, I'll have a guest speaker on with me. How did we adapt during the lockdown? And that's also at 3 o'clock. Then ending the month of the 29th of April at 3 o'clock, we'll have the CEO of the business, Nelson Mandela Business Chamber, on how business adapted during the lockdown. And Nomkita will be on specifically to just go through that with us and what that's all about. Nomkita Mona, obviously being the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Business Chamber. And that's quite exciting in terms of it. That's our whole lockdown. If you haven't received this, please provide your email address here at the bottom so that we can send it through to you. And you can see all the speakers coming up And we also can keep you up to date with other speakers that's coming up during this whole period, which is quite important. So just leave your email address at the bottom. I would love to see who we can send it on to. I'd love to know where you're from, so please comment at the bottom or on the side of the page so that we can see where you're from and we can see how many people are joining us today. That will be quite exciting. So just on the side of the page, you're more than welcome to comment so we can see all of that as well. That'd be quite awesome. Which city are you from? Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, Johannesburg, and who's joining us today? It'd be quite cool to see you participate. You're also more than welcome to ask questions here on the right-hand side and participate with that as well in terms of it. I can see Marcel de Toy has said hello over here. Quite a few people that has joined us. Renelle Bartlett, Angelique. She'll also try to remember Antonie. Then Billy Els, Gary Blom, Lee Barker, Marcel Toy, Chad Furton, Michelle, Mandy Spies, Stian Jonker, Bota, Leanne, Sonia. Thank you so much for all of you for joining in terms of it. It's quite nice to have you on here. Renelle is saying I'm from Port Alfred, Sina from Johannesburg, Jolene from Port Elizabeth, Panyahota, she's from Port Elizabeth, Belinda from Gauteng. You can keep on commenting here on the side. If there's any questions that you have for your businesses, I'm going to suggest that you start asking it now. So Antonie can go through it later today and go through that specifically. So, Tony, quite a hot topic. A lot of people asking what should we do and so forth. And with this lockdown period, employers are stuck on the one side, employees are stuck on the other side. Do they meet in the middle? How do we do this specifically? What is the way? So please give us, before we start, some career background and your HR management training experience and what services do jobs they offer before we go on, just to get some insight specifically for those who don't know you.
Thank you very much, Neil. Hello to everyone. Welcome on board. Firstly, thank you to Oracle Media for this fantastic platform. Doing business has changed, and companies like Oracle Media is making it accessible for most of us. Neil and I had a fantastic talk at the beginning of the week. How do we market our business? How do we stay relevant? And as much as myself as a business owner wants to know how can I promote my business, imagine what your employees are feeling at the moment. How scared are they? What's going to happen? Is the lockdown going to stay for 21 days? Is it going to go forward? What are they to do? As scared as the employees are, or the employees, imagine how the employer feels. He's got to pay salaries at the end of the month. He's got to pay his business rental, etc. So it's almost a bomb waiting to explain. And we find often that in the media nowadays, people would have a headline and employees or employers would read that headline, and it's very deceiving. So we need to think before we act at the end of the day. Just a bit of background. I'm the director of business marketing with Jobs Today SA. I've been with the company for 12 years this year. Jobs Today, the owner, Antonie Pieterse, has owned the business, been in the industry for almost 30 years now. So we know what we do. We do permanent recruitment, we do your contracts, we do assessments, we do audits in your business to make sure that you're ready. So if the Department of Labour walks in there, you are ready. We do induction training and so forth. But I'm sure Neil will put my email address on. If there's any services that you need that we can assist you with, please email. We do work from home at this point, but yeah, we work 24/7. We'll answer your emails.
Definitely, and it's difficult times with a lot of people not knowing, what do they need to do in terms of HR as well, and how it's adapting, specifically in terms of it. I've put your email address on here currently, Antonie, so that we can have a look at it. So how has the lockdown impacted the role of HR managers and officers and the business owners specifically? Because it's difficult. Before I forget, guys, and before you answer that, Antonie, I'm just going to ask, if you're watching this, and I can see there's quite a few people already watching, please share the video while it is live and also create a watch party. So you'll see where it will say on the right-hand side, watch party. Please click on the watch party so that more and more people can join in on this and share the video while it is live. So just click on that watch party and let more and more people join in. And please continue to comment on the right-hand side. While we answer, we can see that you're active while we're also active with regards to this. So just to answer that question, just to go through it again, how has the lockdown impacted the role of HR managers, business owners, and HR managers now at the moment?
You know what? This is a revolution. This is teaching us how to do things differently. How do you approach business now? Because all of a sudden, people are going to get used to working at home. They're going to be used to, okay, I've got my email at home, I've got my Wi-Fi at home, so I can do what my business is requiring. So first of all, let's look at the positive side of this. It's teaching us how to change our business model, how to work differently, how to firstly look after your employees, because now I can stay at home and work today. I've got my emails, I've got everything I need, but I can still look after my kids. I can still go and to that school, I can go rugby or netball. So it's changing a lot. The way we manage that will depend on the business owners. Get yourself a business coach. I think Neil mentioned it yesterday or the other day in his discussion. Get a business coach. You need one. They need to tell you how to change your business module, how to do things differently. Make your employees feel comfortable. And if you're an employee out there, make sure you give your employer what they require. If you're not going to pull your weight at the end of the day and you're going to sit back and not do what is required of you, this is not going to work for you. They're going to look for somebody else who can do the job instead of waiting for you, and you go home, you sit and you don't work. So you know what? As much as it is the business owner's prerogative now to look after you, make sure you have your finances and pay your salaries, and we'll touch on that later. It is your duty to put in more than you can. Prove to them that you are reliable. You can work from home and you can manage your own time at home. So that's how this whole impact's going to change everything. So it's up to the employers, the employees, the business managers, everyone. Get a business consultant, get a marketing company on board now, so that they can help you change it.
Definitely, I agree. You know, you have to think out of the box now, and it's trying times in terms of it. We've got a bunch of questions we're going through here, and I'm going to just throw it at you as it comes in. How can employers assist employees during a period of salaries or even UIF? If it gets to a point where, say, if the employer doesn't have the money in their bank account, and there's no way to pay, so there's no way. No. What do they do? What's the way forward?
Fortunately, our government have put a plan together where they can assist companies and business owners to assist their employees during this time.
Yeah.
Now, if you send me an email, I'll also send it through to Neil during the course of this afternoon. I will send you a leaflet. It basically tells you what to do and how to do, what forms to fill in, etc. And there's an email address. If you email COVID-19 TERS at labour.gov.za, and I'll give it later, I'll give it to you again. But if you email to that email address, it will send a response email to what you need. There's a list of forms you need to complete. However, if you are a business owner or employer, and you have not paid your UIF, your compensation fund, everything up to date, you are in trouble because you should have made sure that is done by now. So if you haven't done it, you need to make a plan. And that is where your business partners are coming into play, etc. You need to look after your employees at this point. I understand businesses can't afford it. The recruitment itself, especially if you're in automotive, has felt this for about 2-3 months already because the COVID-19 virus was overseas, and that's where the decisions were made. So we've had a bit of time to look at this, but it's going to affect your business, your cash flow. So if you haven't paid your stuff up to date, I suggest you do it as soon as possible because you need to assist your employees to apply for these things. And there's a list of things that you would need to fill in, like IDs, proof of banking details, when last you paid UIF, etc. There's a list of it, which I'll send out to you. So you can assist your employees, but you've got to do it now. You cannot wait 2 weeks to do it.
No, you obviously have to get onto it now as soon as possible and change those things. I see some people are saying that they're having some internet issues. We are live on our side. I've actually checked from my phone now quickly, but just refresh your feed, or even turn your internet on and off to be able to go live in terms of it. It's just, if the internet cable is broken, it's not easy with internet in the moment. Also, another question that came in here, and it's I see it's from Carmen saying, "Hi, Antonie. Now people are getting used to working from home. What happens after lockdown? What if it transpired that people were more effective working from home? Will the businesses scrap working in an office?"
You know what, Carmen, thank you for the question. It's a very valid one. What are we going to do in future? What is businesses going to do? As an HR person, I would look at this and say, well, during these 3 weeks, what has my employees done? Have they performed at home? What can I do to change my business model in terms of getting people to work from home? You're going to save on expenses. You're going to save on office space, smaller office space. You're going to find more businesses will go back to opening offices at home and then divert. We've got Zoom, we've got Skype, we've got many platforms to have meetings. I personally am enjoying having virtual meetings because when you drive places, it costs you money to drive there. It's time wasted. You drive half an hour there, half an hour back. That's an hour of your day wasted where you could be more productive. So I think any business or business owner or HR manager will take what they've learned now, take it forward, and then actually implement what is best for their business. And in my opinion, in most cases, it would work to have employees work from home.
Definitely, I completely agree. We even seen from our side, for all of the staff working from home, they're quite effective. I must say, I was a little bit scared at the beginning. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. Even though we do have good staff, people are only human at the end of the day. And what happens? Do they work? Do they not work? I can honestly tell you, I'm completely blown away from how hard people are working, even harder than ever before. So it just shows you that you need to trust at the end, and it will work out. And then obviously, I would say from our side, Dion, if companies see that it's working afterwards, then why even go back to having an office?
That's what I said. More companies will operate from home. Business sense it makes. It doesn't justify flying to Johannesburg anymore to have a meeting because you can do it online. You can save those costs. And with saving costs at the end of the day, you can give that back to your clients because a meeting in Johannesburg would have cost you, say, 20,000 Rand to do. Now you can even do training online. And we do a lot of it, especially in East London. It's coming through to us where we do online training. Instead of physically flying up, it's a cost-saving method. And if you're a business owner, you will grab this opportunity.
Definitely. Another question here. How has the reporting of various facts headlines affected the way general employees and employers see the challenge around sending staff home on lockdown?
Yeah, if you look on the news or on the polls, the news, what's brought out, online news, they have a heading that is so deceiving in terms of what it says. It says sometimes staff cannot work from home. Employers cannot tell staff to work from home. Those are not fact. That's fake news, and you will be covering fake news at some point as well. What I'm saying is let's stay level-headed. Look at what you see, go and do your homework. It makes it very difficult because nowadays all businesses, the staff has WhatsApp groups or communication groups. Now, one person sees a little heading somewhere on a billboard or something, and everyone in the WhatsApp group gets told about it. They're up in arms. They run to the business manager, the HR manager, or the owner, and it's chaos. All you need to do is look at what you're reading. Make sure the fact before you spread it around, because you could harm your business. As much as the employee needs to look after their jobs and do the work, so does the employer. And if there's no money, if there's no sales, and you have to do sales from home, and there's no sales, there's no income, how do you expect the owner to pay you? Make sure you look after that business that is putting food on your table every month. Otherwise, this is going to happen where businesses don't have money to pay their staff.
And it's also working together. I think and that's what I've seen. A lot of employees have come together and they're working with the employer to make things work ultimately. Those are the important things that's currently happening, and it's amazing to see that at the moment. Also see here, and I see Jane. Jane has put us out. The challenge of leaders is the ability to measure outcomes versus the productivity. Too many leaders use time 8 to 5. Well, I'll have to read the rest of here as a measure to opposed to deliverables. I think there will be a shift as there should be, but leaders are equipped with it and how. So definitely, I think that's a nice statement there from Jane. Lynn saying from Winter Forest Products, thoroughly enjoying these informative sessions. Thanks so much, Lynn.
I see there's a question
also be asked. Sorry, Dion.
From Calvin. He's wanting to know what fake news is currently out there in regards to HR. The fake news is that employees or employers have to pay their staff. That's fake news. You know what? The system is there in place. It's a national disaster. So the system is in place for the employers to assist the employees in getting that benefit. But there, the onus is on the business. Have they paid all their statutory rates, etc.? Has it been paid or has it not been paid? But you know what? Work together. That's a big myth out there. Fake news is the employers don't have to care. They have to care. But sometimes the news will come out. It is advised that. That doesn't mean it's law. It's advised that businesses look after the employees. So it's not the law in that sense. It is advice from government so that you look after. So, and that goes both ways again. Look after each other.
No, it's definitely true, and that's what people need to look at. Another question here that's been inboxed through: what is the alternative to sending employees on annual leave or unpaid leave? What do you do? So, if say the employee just started on 20, doesn't have any annual leave, so there's no annual leave. What's the alternative to unpaid or annual? What do people do?
You know what, the UIF fund has changed the law a bit with regards to this crisis. In the past, you had to work 4 years, etc. There was a lot of rules and regulations in terms of getting unemployment. However, in this, if your employer can only afford to pay you for the last, say you go back on the 17th or the 20th, and there's 5 work days, they can only afford to pay you for that, then the rest can be claimed from UIF. And it is in this little booklet that I will send out to everyone as well. So it is in there. Every company is different. For instance, if you do payroll, if you have a small business with 5 employees, etc., the rules are a bit different. So every company needs to look at that. But all I can say, imagine the HR person that's doing the UIF claims for 5 people. Then imagine the HR manager that does it for 500 people. The process to go through and make sure everything is ready. So it's very technical. So if you're a business owner and you want to know more, you can email me and we'll get back to you and respond to you as well. Or if you want to send it through Oracle Media as well, send it through to us. We'll respond to that and see how we can assist you as a business owner or a HR manager. How can we assist you? But you know what? Fortunately, an employer has the right to say, you've got so much leave, please take it. And then unfortunately, the rest is unpaid leave. However, it will be claimed through UIF.
Look, it's about working together in terms of that. I see Sina Weza saying this time really they start the relationship between the employers and the employees. I believe after this we get to see that we need to one another to work together. Definitely, that's what it's all about. Renel also asking a question here, 20. How do we measure productivity? Is it by means of outcomes of tasks, or is it important for employees to keep a log of tasks done?
Brunel, very good question. This time more than ever, it's very important to have some form of control and then feedback from staff working from home. There's various online and some of them free systems in place. At Jobs Today, we use one whereas we can see who does what, when they do it. The feedback is there. You can allocate something to someone to do. I know Oracle Media uses a fantastic system, whereas you allocate time to it as well. So there's systems out there, make use of it. do your homework. If you don't know, ask Neil. I'm sure he'll assist you with regards to that.
Anthony and Renal, if I might answer it from our side. So what we've done is I think you need to trust employees till they prove you wrong. And what we've done is every single morning during the whole day, we have actual Zoom meetings. So each department will have a Zoom meeting where that HOD will then meet with them, ask them if there's anything they need help with, what are they busy with today, and so forth. And then from there, it's there to see if things are getting done. And once you realize things isn't getting done, then I would address it with the employee. But it's so difficult to say, guys, fill in this form so I can see what you're doing. I think when people feel like they're being micromanaged and monitored the whole time, you actually get less out of them. But when you have productive Zoom meetings and you go through what you need to do and everybody's giving feedback at the end of the day, it just works so much better. And I think that's the way people actually need to do it than the other way around. I don't know what you think, Antonie.
I agree fully. Neil, I just see Belinda asked the question there that can my employer force me to use my vacation days because business is slow? Belinda, firstly, you also need to look at your contract, what it states. That's always the go-to. During this period, yes, they can say to you, you've got X amount of annual leave. You need to take it over this period so that you can do it. Some employees or employers that's financially fit enough to say that work this time in, I will pay you a salary, but I'll take it off your commission, etc. That depends on the company. It does depend on how the company interacts with their employees at this point. But for saying throughout the year, oh, I'm quiet this month, go home, use your leave, it's a bit more tricky. It's specific, it's contract specific. But once again, when it gets to that, speak to your HR, engage with your HR of your company. We found often, Neil, that employees, and you can see, oh, they badmouth their employer without mentioning the name. And then you go onto their Facebook and you can see where they work. So HR was so bad to me, or my manager was so bad to me today. And then you see it. So my advice is there. Speak to HR, speak to your manager. If that communication line is not open, there's a problem. And then fix that problem. Sit down and have that chat with your manager or the owner, yes.
Definitely. Antonie, I also see what is your opinion? Could employers assist the employees during this period? How could you assist?
You know what, they're going to fill in these forms for you if they are not financially fit to be able to pay your full salary. So they'll help you with the UIF. I think firstly, if you are a person that draws a salary and you receive your salary during this period, you are very fortunate. Hang on to the job. They are looking after you. Cash flow is very, very tight at the moment. We've got automotive companies that cannot pay their staff because they've just come out of shutdown period, December, and they run into this and there's no cash. So they can say to you, take your annual leave, but my suggestion is, once again, and it's always the way to do it, sit down, calmly discuss it with your HR manager. If you can't, discuss it with an agency that can give you advice, but be calm when discussing it. Because the minute you work yourself up or you get other people to work you up, it's a problem. You're not going to resolve anything.
Angelique's also asking here, she's in the automotive industry. When you offer something to your employees and it's rejected through the union, what do? She almost feels that she's leaving employees destituted. So what is the option now?
You know what? It's pretty basic with this national disaster that we have. I'm also going to give a telephone number. It's a hotline number that you can phone with regards to this. And you can write it down or we'll post it later. It's 012 337 1997. Okay. Phone them. They will be able to assist you with regards to the payment. On the union side, it's very tricky. Unions are there to protect the rights and the way going forward of employees, not employers. And I'll sure. I can probably say, I'm going to say it. Sometimes they don't think about the business. They need to think of what's happening in the pockets of the employees. but the business is suffering. So you need to find out, get a labor attorney or someone in that's got a degree that can sort it out for you. Discuss it. What is your way forward? If the union is sympathetic to the employer, they will understand that if it's not fixed or there's no halfway or meeting each other halfway, the business will close and you will not have work. Yeah. Then short time, etc., comes into play that you're going to do, and they're going to lose their income. Yeah. So, Angelique, my heart goes out to you. That's a very tough one. Unfortunately, you have to then consult a professional attorney or lawyer to finalize that for you.
A difficult one of that. Jane, with regards to that small teams that I said on Zoom meeting, she said, agree with you, Neil, that works in small teams. Larger companies battle a little bit more, definitely. Look, if you're a massive company, that does become a little bit more difficult to do. Then Carmen's asking here, how soon will the UIF be available, and can you draw a UIF after the lockdown? How does it work? Can you what happens when you go back to work?
Also, good question. What's going to happen? You're going to apply for it. Remember, you're not going to get it in advance. A general rule is when you are unemployed, you lose your job, or you're fired, or you get retrenched, you apply and then you get it. So you're not going to get it beforehand. I can tell you now that you're not going to get it before month end. Employer will have to fill it in, send through the documents. There's email addresses on that pack that I will be sending out. Fill it in, complete it, send it through as soon as possible. There might be a delay. Remember, the cap is up to just over 17,000 Rand per month, if that is what you earn. And you get between 38 and 60% of what your salary is, your gross earnings. So that's what you're going to get out. So you're not going to get a full salary either. You're going to get a percentage of that money.
Cool. I see Belinda saying, yeah, Antonie, thank you for the detailed reply. I agree, keeping an open line of communication between employers and employees is very important. That's what you need to do. I think a lot of people need to be open with their staff during this time. Then also, how, in your opinion, could employers assist their employees during this period? Obviously, you mentioned the UIF. I think you've mentioned quite a few things with regards to that already. What is required if the employer wants to make use of the COVID-19 UIF special claims period?
What is required? There's a list of what you're going to have to send through. Now, there's different options. Sometimes there's only a certain amount that you're going to claim that you can't afford, etc. But in general, there's a UI-19 form that you will have to download. Once you send that email to that email address that I've given earlier, they will send back a detailed reply with everything in. So as an HR manager, or even as an employee, email it through, you'll get that back. The other one is a UI-12 form, 12.7 form, that must be filled in by the employer. Okay. Then there's an application form, which is the UI 2.1. You've got to fill in that. Then a UI 2.8. That's basically a form from your bank. Now, if you were Standard Bank or Capitec or F&B, you can generally draw a confirmation of account that's stamped. That is the form that your employers will request from you, which will be submitted as well. Then your employer's has to send a letter confirming that you not being paid is directly linked to COVID-19. They cannot say, I cannot pay myself salaries this month because I had my card to pay, etc. No. If it's not linked to COVID-19 and they cannot prove it in that letter, then it will not happen. Then your company has to pay. And then finally, your UIF number and your UIF and compensation has to be up to date from the employer side. And then that copy of your ID will be sent through as well.
Also, just going through the last few years, what is the minimum wage as per the Department of Labour? I see a question that's come through.
Yeah, that's a very difficult one because there's certain areas that earn certain amounts of money. So what you have to do is make sure that you earn minimum wage on certain areas. You cannot go claim, or your company, they're going to get into trouble if they claim UIF during this period. You're supposed to be minimum wage, say 21 Rand, but you are earning 10 Rand. They're going to get into trouble. So make sure that the wages that you earn is specific to your industry. there's bargaining councils, etc. Make sure the company is paying you right. This information you'll also get online, and you'll get it at labour.gov.za. So go to that website. That information is there as well. And I would say to all HR people, familiarize yourself with that website to know what you're doing is right. If you don't know, ask someone. Make sure you do it right. Because if you don't do it right, you get into trouble here.
No, definitely, I completely agree. Quite a few questions today, and ending off the week quite nicely with a lot of people joining again. Over 100 people joining us at some point throughout the video, which is quite cool. Remember, this is going to carry on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And every topic and every discussion is completely different. Today, all HR things from Antonie Pieterse from Jobs Today. And then obviously on Monday, we've got Jane Stevenson. And you can see it's Your Mindset at 3 p.m. on Oracle Media, specifically in terms of that. Next week, Wednesday, we have Emma Sadler, which will be on specifically. And Emma will be talking all things fake, which is also quite interesting because there's a lot of fake news around at the moment. And that's what we need to look at. What is fake? What isn't fake at the moment? So that's quite interesting in terms of that. So that's next Wednesday, Emma Sadler, the 8th. Please go and register on our Facebook page for that as well. For any questions that you may have, you can send it to us beforehand as well. And then we will already start looking at that before it's displayed. Then obviously next week, Friday, also an interesting one with Brightness joining us. And she'll be talking quite a few different things, and that is crisis management. She's going to talk about how do I change things in terms of crisis management, what do I do specifically, all of those stuff is important. She'll be on next week, Friday, with regards to that. So a few interesting talks coming up. Bjorn, is there anything else from your side you'd like to mention?
Yeah, just someone asked a question earlier with regards to the free online one. Have a look at Trello. It is a free app that you can download, that you can use with all your staff and your clients if you like. But from our side, thank you very much for the opportunity. Once again, Oracle Media and Neil, we appreciate it. And if you have any positions available that you need to work on now, already contact us. We've got a special rate for anyone that joins after this meeting. So we can assist you with your recruitment and with your training needs. So you can just email me. But thank you very much for everyone's time. We appreciate it.
Definitely. Bjorn, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to also be able to help us. I think a lot of people, well, your schedule is probably a bit more open at the moment.
Yes, we late at night now.
So if there's any questions we didn't get to today, you're more than welcome to email Antonie through. You can message us specifically in terms of it. We'll see you Monday at 3 o'clock with Jane Stevenson, getting your mindset right in terms of business. And Antonie, I appreciate all your help today in terms of answering all of these questions for us.
Thank you very much, Neil.
You must have a good one, and then enjoy your weekend. Guys, thanks so much for joining. Bye-bye, Dion.
Bye-bye.